Why Russia is so afraid of the U.S. M142 HIMARS who will fight in Ukraine. The High Mobility Artillery Rocket System, or HIMARS from the United States, made its long-awaited debut in Ukraine almost a month ago. But it already has a long combat history. Utilizing all of its heavy and long-range weapons, notably HIMARS, Ukraine launched a campaign that resulted in the destruction of numerous key fuel and munitions facilities in the occupied regions of the country, putting Russian logistics, essential supplies, and artillery power at risk. To know more about why Russia was afraid of the U.S. M142 HIMARS who will fight in the Ukraine, just continue watching the video. So let's get into it. According to Ian Williams, Deputy Director of CSIS's Missile Defense Project, quote, HIMARS is one of the most advanced rocket artillery systems in the world. Its range is farther than anything the Ukrainians had, so when that was transferred, they did get the ability to strike targets deeper behind the front lines and with much greater accuracy, unquote. They are thought to be more effective when used to attack fixed targets, such as buildings and troops gathered in one area. According to experts, HIMARS rockets have been essential for Ukraine in both an offensive and defensive capacity throughout the war with Russia. Quote, HIMARS have liberated vitally important cities and land in Ukraine, which probably couldn't have happened otherwise. It's a perfect score, unquote, declares George Barros, an analyst with the Institute for the Study of War's Russia and Ukraine portfolio. HIMARS is currently directly opposing Russia's air defenses by destroying pricey, sophisticated radars located far from the front lines. Contrary to its propagandistic bravado, the Russian military has appeared powerless, or at least highly vulnerable, to the dozen or so HIMARS supplied by the United States, which have significantly reduced Russia's military superiority over Ukraine. And as the most recent month of hostilities shows, Russia can't really do much about it. It has few opportunities to combat the American armaments currently in the hands of the Ukrainians due to its own institutional faults, outmoded tactics, lack of initiative, and prior military failures. There are currently 8 to 12 HIMARS on the Ukrainian battlefield, according to estimates. In the wake of the 4th Defense Ministers' Conference in Ramstein, the United States reported on July 20 that 4 more had been delivered. According to Oleksiy Reznikov, Ukraine's defense minister, an unspecified number of M270 MLRS, comparable but heavier truck-mounted systems supplied by Western nations, are already in use there. Few HIMARS have, in a few weeks, been able to deprive Russia of most, if not all, of its substantial munitions and fuel stores in Donbas and the occupied south of Ukraine. Since Russian artillery superiority was a significant factor in its incremental gains in Donbas, the situation has even prompted Russian military bloggers to openly express concern about escalating munitions hunger. Additionally, the introduction of HIMARS has allowed Ukraine to employ its outdated Soviet attack.The ballistic missiles, which were previously stored away by the Ukrainian military due to a lack of heavy armament. Although attack.The systems are more potent than HIMARS and have an effective range of up to 100 kilometers, they are also much less accurate and much simpler to intercept. The continued effort to attack deeply inside the Russian-held rear is being led by the attack.THEs and HIMARS. The 20th Motorized Infantry Brigade, headquarters in Russia, was purportedly targeted by HIMARS as part of their growing hit list, and on July 12, Brigade Commander Colonel Oleksiy Gorobets and 2 other senior leaders were assassinated. A Repellent 1 in Nova Kakhovka and Podet K1 in Lazurn, 2 crucial Russian air defense radars in Kherson Oblast, were both effectively hit by the missiles on July 18. Additionally, HIMARS was employed in a series of attacks on the Antonivsky Bridge in Kherson, which on July 20th briefly cut off a vital Russian supply line. Prior to these most recent attacks on July 15, the Pentagon released a statement reiterating the major impact of HIMARS on Russia's conflict in Ukraine. Weeks pass, but Russia is still perceived as ineffective at thwarting HIMARS attacks, wiping out the systems, or protecting their vital infrastructure. All of the known and confirmed HIMARS attacks have had an impact, and Russia continues to lose ammunition and fuel from dumps that are close to the front lines. Additionally, Russia doesn't seem to be able to decongest its stockpiles rapidly, which could protect its weapons in the occupied regions of Ukraine. The Russian military still adheres to the outmoded Soviet strategy of having a hyper-centralized command and control structure that doesn't encourage much initiative from medium and low-ranking leaders. Before we go any further, please like and subscribe to our channel, Freedom Fast, for more content like this. Hit the bell icon to receive notifications whenever a new video is posted. The Russian military still relies heavily on human labor to handle weapons, since soldiers must load and unload tens of thousands of bundles of ammunition as they arrive. Russian logistics still need efficient automation and communications, functioning personnel, and capable middle-level commanders to manage a far more intricate depot network. Additionally, because Russian supply lines are dependent on rail communications, they are inextricably tied to rail junctions and stations. According to Russian military bloggers, changing to a more flexible system would take months or possibly years, which makes it an impractical option given the current state of the conflict. By moving their stores away from the front line, the Russians could make them safer. The M30/M31 GMLRS rockets with exceptional precision that Ukrainian HIMARS uses have an effective range of about 85 kilometers. Therefore, the solution to the issue would be to place their depots outside of this risky effective range. But by pushing them back, Russia is also making its already challenging logistical situation much more difficult. Instead of the more common 20 or 30 kilometers, Russian trucks would need to travel 90, 100, or even 120 kilometers to provide supplies to frontline forces. This would require a lot more time, fuel, and labor-intensive work. How has Ukraine attacked Russia using HIMARS rockets? By allowing Ukraine to hit Russian ammunition and supply facilities, HIMARS rockets have proven particularly useful in halting Russia's onslaught in the Donbas. Additionally, they were essential in getting Russia to leave Kherson. Quote, only because the Ukrainians had this ability to damage those bridges with a protracted strike was that conceivable. I don't think the Ukrainians would have liberated Kherson without HIMARS, unquote, says Barros. Prior to the strike on New Year's Day, HIMARS missiles had primarily been employed to hit Russian infrastructure, in contrast to other strikes, Williams notes. Quote, the current strike struck an area where there occurred to be a lot of Russian military personnel. Therefore, there was a very high mortality count, unquote. HIMARS has been used to hit Russian logistics, arsenals, and artillery as far as we can tell. General Mark Milley, the chairman of the U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff, stated that Russia had not destroyed any of the HIMARS systems that Ukraine had received during a Pentagon briefing on July 20. Additionally, the top general reaffirmed that the Ukrainian military had, quote-unquote, very effectively used them against Russia. A HIMARS is a difficult target for the Russian military of today. They move quickly and take up positions deeper in the Ukrainian-controlled rear, where Russia still has relatively poor situational awareness and where they are difficult to promptly identify and eliminate, even with highly precise weapons. The only feasible opportunity for Russia to destroy HIMARS, according to the specialists consulted by the Kyiv Independent, is to strike when a Ukrainian crew fails to leave its post swiftly or when it discloses its location. A significant threat could potentially come from the Russian Air Force. However, as the last few months of the war have shown, Russian attack aircraft have been wary of moving further into Ukrainian-controlled territory. This is largely because of the robust air defense and the abundance of manned portable anti-aircraft systems, MANPADS, including those supplied by the West. Even the most sophisticated Russian air defense systems struggle or fail to successfully intercept approaching HIMARS rockets. Over the past 2 weeks, they have not been successfully stopped by Russia's well-publicized S-400 or Pantsir S-1 air defense systems, which have been placed in occupied Ukraine. The S-300 or S-400 systems from Russia are designed to be able to successfully intercept ballistic or aerodynamic targets at medium and long ranges. However, the issue is that HIMARS rockets are very challenging to detect in time. HIMARS M30/M31 GMLRS rockets travel at a speed of Mach 2.5, or almost 3,062.6 kilometers per hour as they impact their targets. As a result, when they have to fly 80 kilometers to a goal, it takes them 94 seconds before they reach it. However, they also travel at altitudes that are much lower than those of any cruise or ballistic missile, giving Russian air defense little opportunity to detect and respond to them. This indicates that HIMARS aircraft flown by the Ukrainian military continues to conduct strikes whenever they can. This is particularly true when the Ukrainian military overwhelms Russian air defenses with volleys of attack.U, Ugran, or Smerch rounds before firing a full salvo of HIMARS to ensure a hit. So, that's all for today. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that bell icon to receive notifications. Also, express your valuable thoughts in the comment section below. Until then, bye. Also, spend some time watching our other videos on this channel.